I'm Augusta, and this is Maria and my presentation on mangroves. Mangroves are a group of trees and shrubs that have an unusually high salt tolerance, or halophytes. The term mangrove isn't really a term for a specific genus of trees, but it's more of an ecological description of these types of plants. Mangroves are angiosperms, which means they are flowering plants, and they exist on tropical and subtropical shores, usually where a river, freshwater, would meet the ocean, saltwater. It is believed that the evolution of mangroves began right here in our own backyard. The Indo-Malayan region of the world boasts the highest diversity of mangrove species, which leads ecologists to believe that they originated here and spread westward through India and East Africa onto the Americas. Mangroves are important for various reasons. This includes buffering the land from the sea and acting as a nursery for juvenile fish. Also, they help reclaim some land from the sea and prevent too much sediment from running off into the ocean and ruining coral reefs. Mangroves protect the land from the sea by acting as a buffer zone. It protects the soil from erosion from the waves and the storms, and helps shield the land from things such as typhoons, hurricanes, and tsunamis. They also help protect the land from the rising level of water due to global warming. Mangroves also act as nurseries for fish and other young marine life. Here, the complex system of roots provides a place where juvenile fish can hide and stay safe from much larger predators. The loss of these mangroves presents both environmental and economic repercussions. Without a place for juvenile fish to grow, the fishing industry in the area will suffer. Environmentally, mangroves represent a large and diverse ecosystem, and without them, a large portion of the food chain will be lost. The mangroves also act to reclaim land that is previously swallowed up by the ocean. As they go slowly outwards, more and more land is reclaimed by the mangroves, providing a unique place where the land is growing instead of being taken up by the waves. Mangroves are a vital part in preventing runoff from reaching reefs and seagrasses. The sediment from rivers tend to flow out into the oceans, resulting in very cloudy seas. If the water gets too cloudy around seagrasses or reefs, there is much less sunlight for the ecosystem, resulting in the death of seagrasses and coral bleaching. When areas that were previously home to mangroves are cleared of them, a substantial impact can be felt upon the area. The soil begins to be eroded from the waves and the land is now unprotected from storms and tsunamis. The local fishing takes a hit as well, with no place for the young fish to grow and develop. They are instead eaten by predators. Coral reefs, now cloudy with sediment-filled waters, begin to get bleached, and slowly the ecosystem begins to die. There are many threats that threaten a mangrove ecosystem, such as land reclamation projects, pollution caused by humans, development of ports, deforestation for fuel wood, and overharvesting of the natural resources of the area. There are many difficulties that a mangrove has to adapt to, which include a method to deal with a large amount of salt that no other plants can survive, let alone thrive in, exposure to extreme weather conditions such as storms and strong currents, managing to establish seedlings roots in these conditions, getting the gases they need to survive like carbon dioxide when the tide has submerged the plant completely, nutrient-poor soil, and other things. They deal with these through many adaptations, such as their root systems, nematophores, lenticels, propagules, and salt extrusion methods. Mangroves have an intricate root system of roots that help them deal with the issues of submergence. Rhizophora plants have prop or stilt roots that form a complex net, literally propping the tree up higher above the water level. As rhizophoras absorb water during the tides, these stilt roots also excrete salt at the same time. These mangroves are generally found closer to the ocean. Avicennias are a type of black mangrove, which are found farther inland. They have nematophores, which are special roots that stick out of the ground. Brugarias are another type of red mangrove, which have kneed or buttressed roots, which are thick, bent, and knobbly. These act a lot like nematophores, which help increase the diffusion of gases through the roots. Some mangroves also have drop roots, which are root-like structures that drop from the branches down to the soil and help transport gases down to the root system. Mangroves need these intricate root systems to help support them as the tides shift and also to increase the intake of gases during the time in between high and low tides. Nematophores are a special kind of root that shoot out of the ground vertically up to a foot. This helps gases reach the roots that are otherwise submerged and are being suffocated. Some of these nematophores are green because they contain chlorophyll to help with the photosynthesis process. Lenticels are another adaptation to help with the gas exchange. Lenticels are a sort of special pore that cover nematophores, stems, and leaves. They help prevent too much water from penetrating into the tree and also with the exchange of gas. Propagules, which literally mean potential plant, are the seedlings of mangroves. They show that the mangroves are viviparous, which means that the young of a species begin to grow onto the mature plant, like humans and other mammals. Living in a salty environment is harsh for a plant, and mangroves have had to develop special adaptations to help excrete excess salt. Some mangroves excrete the salt directly at their roots, such as the rhizophoras, while others excrete salt on their leaves. Others just store extra water in their leaves to dilute the salt further, and some just push the salt into the bark or onto older leaves and disposes them when they eventually drop off. The following slides have pictures on them from the field trip to the Sungai Buloh Woodland Reserve. Featured in the pictures will be Augusta the shell. These mangoes are rhizophoras. These are red mangroves that are found closer to the ocean as opposed to black mangroves which are found farther inland. You can tell these are rhizophoras because of their prop roots and their stilt roots, which are just prop roots that are large enough to lift the entire trunk of the tree above the water level. You can also see some drop roots in these pictures. These are brugarias, which is another type of red mangrove found closer to the ocean. They are distinguished by their kneed roots along with red flowers and thick propagules. Avicennias are black mangrove found farther inland. They are closer to regular trees and are distinguished by small propagules and flowers, allowing the tide to carry them farther inland. They also have nematophores, which stick out of the ground near them. This slide shows the typical zonation of a mangrove. The reds are farther out inland, while the black mangroves are farther inland, while the whites are the farthest back before the regular trees. As the mangrove progresses more towards inland, the mangroves become more like regular trees, finally ending in traditional woodland. Well, that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for listening.